Let me just turn that off. Hello, we are live. What's up, everyone?
We are live. Nice.
There's a little bit of a delay, but anyways, I hope everyone can see us. If you have any problems hearing us or seeing us, please do let us know. If one of us is too loud, yell it out in the comments. And
I hope everyone can hear me.
Oh shit, I just unplugged my microphone. Okay. How does everyone like the whole bubble situation? Like this is funky.
That is fancy stuff.
Should we go back to
well
being
done.
squares?
Well done.
Or are the bubble situations that are preferable? I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, so for a little introduction, if you guys don't know who we are, and for some reason you're here, I am Tizen, and this is JC, Jesus Christ, and I'm sorry, Josh, Cahill, Jeremy Clarkson. What's your name again?
Yeah, it's interesting that I actually shared the same initials with Jesus Christ, which I didn't know until today. Yes.
You do look
Josh,
like him.
A young version of him, you want to say, right? Hopefully.
He did die pretty. He looked like him maybe at the age of he was crucified.
But you probably wanted to say you're both very charismatic individuals.
And attractive. I have to pay you that compliment. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. So, welcome to August, everyone. Welcome to the beginning of the end of the perhaps COVID situation in some parts of the world, a little bit more so than others. I'm in Canada right now. I'm in Toronto, for those of you who don't know, and Josh is in?
I'm in Germany, and we are experiencing the hottest day of the year, it feels like. And the very annoying thing I always say about Germany is we don't have air conditionings.
Ooh. Oh, that's kind of rough.
That is rough.
I can kind of tell from you don't have air conditioning in your house that you're in right now?
No,
Okay.
No, I don't think there is such a thing in Germany at all. I didn't, in fact, actually, I never knew what an air conditioning was until I traveled to Asia for the first time.
Oh. Interesting. Okay, you would think. All right. Anyways, so we're going to talk about a couple of things today. If you guys do have questions, things to share, we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. We're interested to hear all of your planned vacations, trips, what have you, whether it be in the States, in Canada, in Europe, or Asia. I think that's the first couple predominantly where our viewers come from. But first, we have to address the catastrophe that is our podcast. We've been trying to do this for a couple of weeks now, and it's either been I'm busy or I'm not home, or he doesn't have an internet connection that works. So tell us a little bit about that, Josh. Tell us where you've
I
been
think I have
bouncing.
a very valid excuse. I was traveling the past 4 weeks. Luckily, being back at producing content, being very busy, but I can tell everyone we are recording it very soon. We actually have set a date yet, don't we?
Yes, it's tomorrow.
It's
If
tomorrow.
if both of us wake up in time, but hopefully that'll happen. Yeah.
That is right. But no, I had a very busy month, and I was back flying. I did a bit of airlines in Europe, which was a lot of fun. Not even airlines, even ferries and
Trains going on
trains.
ferries. That was
Trains, and I do have, yeah, it might yeah, interesting. It was an interesting experience, but I can give everyone a little disclaimer. There's not going to be more train reviews coming for the foreseeable future. I'm going to be back in the air once uh, COVID improves, you know. Yeah, but it was a nice change.
And that train trip, which you took throughout most of the length of Italy down to Sicily, you uploaded that video this morning. I think I watched it. I didn't finish it yet because I was busy setting this up.
Do you watch your videos once you publish them?
Do I watch my? Yeah, just to make sure that I didn't like screw up royally somewhere in the middle. But yeah, sometimes I enjoy watching my videos. The older ones, not so much. They are very cringy, and please don't watch them. I will delete
Oh
them
yeah.
at some point. Do you?
That is right. I don't know. I not really. I hate listening to my own voice. Like, and when I see
Yeah, I hate
myself
listening to
on,
your voice too, but here
yeah,
we are.
exactly. There's a lot of people, trust me.
Kidding.
But no, especially like the post-corona vlogs now, they are very hard to watch since I always notice how much weight I gained in Bali during lockdown, and yeah, but it's always a good motivation to work out.
You have nothing to complain about. You look the same. If anyone has gained weight, it's me. And my cheeks have gone horizontal in the last couple of months, having been stuck at home and immobile.
And yeah, regarding the podcast, it's going to happen. We have some really cool ideas we want to talk about, and yeah, so stay tuned. We will update you very, very soon.
Yes, very soon is right now because I have 3 more things to add to the podcast. We have an agenda. We're just not really paying attention to what we're saying. And there aren't that many of you anyway, so we don't really care. So there were a couple of questions that were asked last time. The podcast is going to be him and I having a bro talk about things that go on every month or so. And after 1 or 2, we are going to have a couple of guests on, and we're going to just have a conversation about traveling. It's going to be part aviation, from a passenger's perspective, but also from like an av geek's perspective. We're not going to dive too deep into that. We're going to focus a lot on traveling, tips and tricks, what we've learned, what we've experienced,
And gossip.
In our industry, in the travel industry, and the YouTube sphere. There is a little bit, and we don't want to add any fuel to the fire, so it's mostly just gossip between him and I. But yeah, it's and the name, we're gonna stick to hijacked for now, and there's a reason for that, which we will tell you in the end. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. All right, so that's that. I want to talk about Flight Simulator 2020 now before we start taking questions. Have you heard about that?
Is that a question for me or the audience, or both?
You and the audience. We're going
That
to
is
read
great.
off a couple of you guys' responses here.
I am probably not as excited as many of you guys are because I never really was really into like flight simulators, but like I saw the first like streams and like people like uploading videos, and it does look pretty amazing. But I'm afraid if I get back into like flight simulators, my productivity will suffer from that as well. But you had a little try, I saw, right?
Yeah, I've been playing that thing nonstop for the past 2 days, so haven't gotten any work done. It is beautiful, and I think it's one of those games that will bring a lot of people into this sphere of gaming. Some of the hardcore flight simmers out there have initially said that it's kind of like a VOR game. It's more like a GTA style flight sim, and I think most of them have gotten back on their word because it is beautiful. Everything from hand flying through the bush to um, instrument flying the largest airliners, it is done immaculately. That is all I can say, and everything looks beautiful from any altitude, especially the clouds. The clouds are very nice.
Yeah, yeah. So like the skyline of like you flew over Toronto, right? In in your little the little teaser you sent me, and it looks amazing. I mean, like you need a pretty good computer, like right, to play that game.
I think so. I don't know. I have a 2080 Ti right now. It's doing okay.
Like
Um,
one of those gaming computers.
but you do need a lot of hard drive space or a really fast internet connection. Is okay? No, no, no. Actually, going back on what I said about that, this will also be more accessible because you can play this pretty much on any computer that has Windows 10 on it because the settings go down really low. Also, it looks beautiful on Xbox, and you can play this on an Xbox with a controller. And having tried it with a controller, it's not that bad. There are many things you can do with a controller. You got your rudder controls, you got your pitch and the roll, obviously, but you can also adjust it the trim with your controller. It's very intuitive, and I like it a lot. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's very it's yeah it is, but it also seems to be it seems very nerdy. But interestingly, yesterday I did a flight with Swiss 001.
Hmm.
I'm sure a lot of you guys follow him as well. Like who's always X-Plane? Is it called X-Plane? Where he does.
Absolutely, yeah. I think anyone who knows anything about flight sims or watches them on YouTube will know his channel. It's complete. It's hilarious. You don't
I
have to be a
was
flight simmer to enjoy his videos.
Exactly. It was a hilarious guy. And yesterday I was able to experience actually a proper landing with him on his Cirrus SR-20. So we flew across the country in Germany. So he was the man in charge. We did a vlog about this as well. It's going to be a very interesting video. But yeah, he's always the first person that pops up in my mind when I think about flight simulations. But I've seen there's a lot of questions coming in already. Are we going to go and answer some of
Yes,
these?
so let's open it up to this. And once again, if you guys have any trips, itineraries, or things you want to share, please let us know. And we are going to open up the comment section. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Heart, it's
I
kind
would
of
actually
messy.
pick up the first question because it's a very interesting one from Egg Pain Dude number one. Because Tis and I we were just talking about it. How does not going to the US affect your blogs? Interestingly, I have a flight booked to the United States in November, and I asked Tyson, how does it look like? Do you think America is going to be open by then? It does affect me, and when I booked that flight earlier this year, I was like, by November, everything is going to be all right. But now it does affect me quite a lot, and it seems like if there's no vaccine anytime soon, and I heard Russia started testing on starting vaccine people, that yeah, it does affect. I do actually
Yeah, I think
miss
they have a
flying over
plan
the pond. Yeah.
that they will have a vaccine soon in a couple of weeks, and they have a program put in place to vaccinate everyone, which is kind of ambitious, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not gonna
How does it
comment.
affect your plans? Can you actually travel to the United States?
I can. It's kind of hush hush right now, but Canadians can go into the states, just not on the land
Hmm.
border. We can fly into the states and do whatever. We still have our B1 and B2 visas. We can go on vacation. We can. There's no. You don't need to be an essential traveler to go to the states because for some reason they're not enforcing it. But Americans can't come here, and I actually have a story to tell about an American family that got deported on a flight of mine that I took a couple of weeks ago. But going back
Tony's
to
toilet. Thank you very much. I will stay away.
going back, going back to what Josh said about the whole U.S. situation, I don't understand why they're not letting Europeans in if they so choose. There aren't that many countries. Actually, there are very few countries right now that are telling their citizens that you can't go to certain countries, and because there's no way to enforce them. They can't. You can't. North Korea your people and stop them from leaving your country. That's something that a lot of governments won't stoop down to. So I'm feeling like maybe in a couple of weeks' time that the U.S. Borders are open to Europeans, and maybe the rule is when you go back to Europe, to an EU country, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks and file a plan. That is what's happening with Canada right now. If you come into Canada from any country, including the United States at the moment, you have to file a self-quarantine plan with the authorities. The border services and the police tell them where you're going to be staying, who are you going to be staying with, how you're going to get groceries, how you're going to make sure that you have everything you need without leaving your house. And they will come and check on you. The police will knock on your door or phone, call you and make sure that you're not leaving your house. And if you do, there are hefty fines for that, which kind of ruins my travel plans for the next couple of months if that stays in place. But hey, you know what? That's keeping us safe. I'm quite happy about that, as I'm sure the majority of the Canadians will unanimously agree with. All right.
Yeah, but so what I also wonder about, the US must also suffer from the tourists that are not coming, because it's a very popular tourist destination as well, especially like the Chinese that are not entering the country. They must have an interest as well in opening the country up as soon as possible, right? And when you think about all the award travelers and all that stuff, where do they go? America. How do you look at that?
They have bigger problems to deal with, I feel, right now. They have massive unemployment. I don't know what the figures are this week, but we were talking over 20% at some point a couple of weeks ago. So, and I don't think that many people will be inclined to travel to the US. There are some things that are open, and there are haven towns, as they call them, from the ultra rich, where you have billionaires going to small ski towns in Colorado and whatnot, and just buying out the whole place for a couple of months. But for average people like you and I and our viewers, you guys, I don't think many of you who aren't in the US want to travel to the US right now for anything out of the necessity. So even if they open it up, I don't think that market is going to come back anytime soon.
Probably, that's right. But yeah, that's it's a global issue. It's a global pandemic, as people say. And like you say, you think some countries had it under control. But do you think there's going to be a new normal, or are we going to go back to normal?
I don't know, but my hopes are that in 1 year's time from now, you can travel through an airport and not be reminded of the whole pandemic that we've experienced. I think there will be changes, and I think there will be long-lasting changes, more automation, which sadly will get rid of some jobs, I feel. But I was traveling through Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, and I've noticed some of the elevators are now touchless, where you just swipe your hand in front of where you want to go, and then elevators open up. A lot of the airport bathrooms have completely touchless facilities now, where you don't have to touch the taps or the soap dispensers or even the doors. And I think those changes will come, and they will last forever going forward.
Do you want to know what a very interesting thing I noticed, though? We were all complaining that airlines are cost cutting, et cetera, et cetera. I was flying British Airways this week, and all of a sudden, they, on an inter-European flight, they have even food service in economy class. You have to pay for any meal that you want, or snack, and now you get complimentary snacks and water in economy class. So you can't say that that COVID does it does, in some cases, does improve actually the onboard experience.
That's interesting, because that's completely different parts of different airlines. Wow. So. Yeah. So what did you get on your flight? Because I know you, if anyone's followed, for the guys of you who are, for the people, who follow Josh, he flew from Amsterdam to Heathrow the other day, which is, I think, a little bit over an hour in the air, on a 787 Dreamliner, and you actually found your way up to the first class cabin, I believe.
Yeah. Well, like you got to pick and find some really interesting flights when you're in Europe because
Hmm.
like inter-European travel is actually very boring, and I'm sure a lot of you agree. So twice a week they operate the Dreamliner for cargo purposes between London and Amsterdam, and I was booked in business class, and then unfortunately, half of the crew was also watching my videos, so they were very kind to offer me a first class seat. So where I believe that I mean there is no such thing like first class travel in Europe, anyways. So yeah, they gave me a little upgrade, which was not too bad, but um, yeah, that was a lovely experience, a very lovely experience.
So what kind of food did you get? That's what I'm interested in.
Oh, I got like a really nice sandwich. I got a Doko catering like chocolate mousse. It was delicious.
Oh,
Good water, hot beverage, coffee. There was even champagne if I wanted to. I'm not like the big drinker. Like I'm not big on champagne. Um, but also the young man, Moise, Travel Man 101, who's in the chat, he was actually on the same flight with me, and he was so lovely to cover a bit of the economy class during the flight. But
oh, look at you.
yeah, like
Oh, look at
I
that.
literally have yeah, there were like it was like a bit of a subscriber meetup. There were a few subscribers on the flight as well. It was very nice when people when you have subscribers traveling with you and the cruise knows you, then it does come with a few advantages. But I
Wow.
heard like interesting story. You get recognized by your shoe license. Is that right?
Yeah, I went to Ottawa and Montreal the um, last week, a couple days ago, and it was it was surprising how many times people have come up and asked me, "Hey, are you that guy on YouTube?" And I'm thinking, I'm wearing a mask, and my most of my face is covered. Like, how are these guys recognizing me? And they're like, "Oh, I recognize you because you're wearing your white shoes," and um, I don't know. It's cool. Hey, if you see me in my white shoes and I'm walking around, feel free to come up and say hello. I might not have time, but I will ask you how your day is. I know Josh, you give people stickers if they see you. Is that correct?
I do, yeah. That's always the thing I carry with me when I like bump into subscribers. I give them some stickers, and yeah, it's a nice gesture.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
is. Okay, I should do something like that.
that's right. But like, let's go. Let's see what other questions we have. You've been just asked if you do. Hold on, let me scroll through the chat. Swoop Airlines. Are you going to do a Swoop Airlines review? I've never heard of them.
It's it's a WestJet subsidiary. It's WestJet's super budget airline, I would say, because they don't even fly from the main airports. They fly from Hamilton, which I think you remember where that is, to Abbotsford, instead of
That's
from
right.
Toronto to Vancouver.
And Ian's just said your sneakers are hot.
Thank you. They are. Very much so. I'm looking to get new ones of the exact same kind. But thank you, Ian. So I don't know if I'm gonna fly soup. Honestly, it's a long flight, and it might not be very comfortable from what I've seen. If I get desperate. Um, so Travelman 101 here is telling us that he's going from London to Copenhagen to Istanbul to, I have no idea what the KWI is, to Doha to LHR. I'm going to look up what KWI is. And I've asked Travelman
A
101, uh, who is going to travel in September.
Oh, KWI is Kuwait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you can go from Kuwait to Doha right now?
If you're a resident, I think I'm not sure about it, but like
Maybe,
I
are there
think Doha is
flights?
pretty much locked up as well.
I feel. Well, there was the whole like Middle Eastern countries bullying Qatar situation, but okay.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. Like I don't even think they have. Do they have still like diplomatic ties? Didn't they cut them as well?
I
Was
don't
wasn't?
think there are flights from Qatar to that many places in its neighborhood right now. They're still having to avoid the UAE and
I know
Saudi
this embargo
Arabia.
is joined by like Saudi, Egypt, not Oman, UAE,
I think they
and
can
Yemen.
go
I
to
think.
Oman right now, and it's one of the few places you can bounce through. But
Yeah,
that's
Oman
interesting.
exactly.
Um, and oh, I lost a comment. And he hopes it doesn't get canceled. Well, I hope they don't get canceled either. I think the Middle East and Europe are doing okay. They're going to start slowly ramping things up.
Yeah, Sihan Tong in bracket student. That's a very interesting username. Says Kuwait, Oman are still open to Qatar. That is right. And Matt is asking, how tall are you guys? Tyson, do you want to like share that with your audience, or you want to have it as a
I'm
secret?
100 and oh my god, 181
In
centimeters. I've
centimeters.
stopped saying this in my flight reviews because I don't think it matters anymore. Most seats are good enough. So that's like 5'11" and a third or a half. I don't know. In freedom units. What about you?
I'm 178 centimeters,
Okay.
but I think that's the average
Yeah, you're pretty tall.
human being.
I
That's
I
not tall.
I
No,
don't.
no, I don't think so. It's okay. Ask the audience. I want to ask the audience. Do you think 178 centimeters is tall? Do I appear tall in my videos,
I mean,
or just very
you
average?
look skinny, you look slender. So there you go. I mean, I don't think it matters as long as you can pop your head over a counter. I think you're good. Um, for don't for whatever it is. Why don't you guys invite Nonstop Dan, Jeb Brooks, and other famous YouTubers on a plane for a 3-hour flight, like an AvGeek party? We could, and I've thought about this, and we have thought about this. Josh and I are actually supposed to meet up in London at the end of September, and we might have
That
a
might be
couple.
the idea, like booking the complete upper deck of a 747. I mean, there are not many left, but then have a little AFGI party
I feel like we'd be
up
terrible
there.
passengers, and we also be kind of super spreaders from the weird places we go to and the things we touch with our cameras. But hey, could be fun, but probably not anytime soon. What do you think?
If I think about what I was just reading to the comments because I get pretty good feedback on my 178 centimeters.
If we were to have a big AvGeek meetup, when do you think it'd be
Oh, I'd like
appropriate
that. I
to do
mean,
so?
I've met a few of the boys uh, during those years, but yeah, imagine all of us doing a trip together. That would be loads of fun. Loads of fun. I don't think we would like. I mean, I kind of had that when we picked up that Qatar Airways uh, Airbus 350-1000.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of us on that plane, but yeah, like in the end, everybody's just so busy, like creating content. It was something else. I don't think it was enjoyable. Very
We
very hectic
we need a
experience.
long flight, so we have like in 2 hours to get footage, and then we get bored, and then we can start talking to each other because it is. I don't know. Getting footage on board is something that gives me a little bit of anxiety these days, especially on shorter flights, because later on I'm editing this and I'm thinking to myself, "You effing idiot! Why didn't you hold this shot for a couple seconds more?" And I'm sure you get that too sometimes when you're watching your footage.
Listen, Matt C is asking, what made you guys get started doing aviation content? How did it start for you?
My girlfriend got me a camera, and I was traveling quite a bit for work, and I was bored. So then I started filming things, and I've always had a love for editing silly documentary style, not very carefully thought out videos, and that's how I ended up doing it. And also, I don't live with my parents, and I do miss my mom and dad quite a bit. So in the beginning, and still to this day, I just have them watching it as my main thought for how I want to make the videos. But that was only a little bit ago, I think last year. How did you get started?
Oh, just the same, like a hobby or passion that turned into a job. And my advice to everyone watching: don't do it. Don't turn your hobbies into a job, because then you don't have any hobbies anymore. But I love
It,
what I do.
it is still a hobby for you. You say that, but you're just being polite. It is, you still love it, and I can tell that you love it. And I don't feel like you trade it for any other job in the world right now.
No, definitely not. Travel Leo is asking, I think you're the absolute expert on that. What are the best transatlantic business class routes for cheap and good?
Oh, and just before we do that, I'm reading a lot of your questions, guys. If you have a specific question for either one of us, please tag us so we can find it real quick, and we'll come back to them because I have a couple in mind. So, transatlantic flights for cheap. Right now, what I'm hearing is that there is this company called Flybe. It's French. They have A350s, and they are an ultra low cost carrier. They fly from, I don't remember which airport in Paris, but they are thinking of taking their U.S. routes from Paris to Canada. So they might start flying to Toronto and Vancouver, and they might
But I
even
don't
do.
think they have a flatbed. I think they have just a recliner of business class seats,
So
if
if you
I'm not
want,
mistaken.
if it is a daytime flight from from Europe to Canada, so you might not necessarily need it. It is very comfortable. It's incredibly cheap. It's like 200 pounds, about 300 euros.
Oh, there's always Norwegian as well. Yeah.
That's true, but you do have to go out of your way a little bit. Otherwise, right now, I'd say United has some pretty good prices. What's that other airline?
How about WestJet? They joined the game as well.
Their prices are very expensive right now for the rest of the
Okay.
year. That's about 2,000 US one way.
Haven't they had plans to use their 320 Neo on transatlantic flights? Didn't I hear anything about that?
Who?
West. No, that's Air Transat,
That's
right?
yeah. Air Transat but those are not lie flat. Those are premium economy seats. The A321 Neo LR, that is a mouthful. They're flying those to London, I believe, and Toulouse as of right now.
Anil said, got my flight from Montreal to Lyon for $500. That must be Air Transat on the old Airbus A310, actually.
I think so. Oh, the company that has pretty cheap but pretty decent business class is La Compagnie, which is the name of the French airline. It's not French, sorry, it is from New York, and they fly an A321 Neo LR from Orly, I think, to either, I think it is JFK. No, it's EWR, I think, Newark. It is an all business class flight in a 2-2 config, flatbed seats. They're very new. Do look it up. Those prices are about $1,000 round trip for the beginning of next year, is what I've seen. And if the U.S. opens up, that is the way to go, I feel.
Eti Kumalainen, I don't know whether I pronounced that right. Sounds very Finnish to me. Where are you originally from? Australian born and then migrated to Germany after middle school. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I hope that answers the question. He was asking me where I'm from originally. Yeah. Because of my weird accent.
Your accent's interesting. It's not weird. There are
It
weirder
is.
ones.
I'm a global citizen. That's what I always say.
I want you to say quarantine for me, please.
Quarantine.
I want you to say
Quarantine.
squirrel.
Squirrel.
Oh, you can pronounce squirrel. Okay, he's more Australian than he is German. Because the Germans I know, none of them can pronounce squirrel. They can speak perfect English, but had they learned English growing up in Germany, you ask them, hey, what's that over there? And they're like, oh, that is a squirrel. Squirrel. And
Jawohl.
I make fun of my German friends for their inability to pronounce that. And then they ask me, okay, how do you pronounce this German word? And it's about 400 letters long, and I give up.
There is though a running joke at the moment on my Instagram channel because I said on my before my Tunis flight, and Travelman is just bringing it up. Stop being annoying, Travelman. He said, I said, this is my bird today. And people misunderstood and said they understood it is my birthday today instead of this is my bird today, referring to the airplane. So now I've get tons of messages in my Instagram inbox, people wishing me a happy birthday.
Interestingly enough, bird, not so much used these days, is also like British slang for like babe or chick. So, with it being a BA flight, I guess you could say this is the babe that I'm flying on today, which is also a little bit inappropriate. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, I sound Irish. See what I'm saying? I'm Irish. I don't sound Irish.
A little bit. I don't know. You look like that right now. You look Irish right now from how hot you're getting and from how hot it is over there.
Yeah. I'm getting an Irish 10. Hey.
Quickly mopping up, I don't remember where it was, but someone said that Air Canada is the complete opposite of BA with regard to the lack of meal service. Absolutely. They just started reintroducing hot meals and economy on longer flights, international ones. And right now, the 4-course menu and signature class is being replaced with a lunchbox. It looks like a nice lunchbox, but it is just like a glorified bento box. I'll check that out next week, and I'll make a video about it, and I'll post it on Instagram, and I'll tell you guys how good it is. But I don't think it's as good as the 4-course meal that you usually get.
That's right. Tony's Toilet. Very interesting name. Do you guys get a lot of looks when you're holding a camera when doing a trip report? I think I am good because I'm working with a GoPro 8 with a very little tripod. And I mastered the art of not being seen, pretty much filming myself. But I've heard, Tissan, you are actually traveling with almost a camera team. This is how big your camera is, right?
It's not that big, but sometimes I use a gimbal.
Is that what she said?
So it's no. Oh, there's so many things I want to say in response to that, but I'm not, for the sake of YouTube. So my rig is about this big if I have like a gimbal and a camera on, and sometimes I walk around like that. In the beginning, it was a little nerve-wracking, I suppose, with people giving you looks, but now I honestly don't give a shit anymore. I just walk down the streets holding a gigantic camera, making stupid jokes and making myself look like an idiot, both to you guys, the audience, and everyone around me. But happily enough, I was doing that in Ottawa 2 days ago. And I was holding the camera. I was walking around the Byward Market, doing a piece to camera, talking about something. And then there was this like young couple, a guy and a girl on electric scooters, which is already kind of not the most trendy thing to be on. I don't know. They came up to me and was like, "Hey, are you trying to be a YouTuber?" In a kind of mocking, condescending way, and not really caring too much. I was like, "Yeah, I've got a mild following." And then immediately someone recognized me from my white shoes and was like, "Oh, hey, you're that guy on YouTube. Hey, it's great to meet you." And then I looked over and that couple was a little embarrassed. That was kind of interesting. That was the first time that's
Yeah,
ever happened.
and I must say that usually I love doing trip reports in Asian airlines because in Asia nobody gives a damn about cameras because it's so much part of their culture. They grew up with it, and there's so much more understanding, and they don't have those privacy issues as well. It's not like that I film people without their consent, but like people so much more relaxed. I think the only time where I always don't know what to expect is when I fly on Western Airlines. It's a
Oh,
bit more
yeah,
difficult.
absolutely. And that's something I have to deal with more than you do. Air Canada and WestJet have pretty strict camera rules when it comes to filming on board, and you can get away with it if your camera is about the size of a phone. You can't if your camera is the size of my head, which is already pretty big. So usually I just get on board and I don't film the crew. I tell them who I am. I tell them I asked them for permission to take pictures on board. That's what I say. And maybe take some videos. And then usually they're like, yeah, okay. At this point, Air Canada and WestJet kind of know me. So sometimes they have let the crew know, they have informed the crew that I'm coming. So sometimes the cabin manager is like, hey, we were expecting you. Welcome on board. Like, we're happy to have you on board. But in the beginning, it was a little awkward. But, you put on a nice face, you act courteous and you're polite, and usually they let you do whatever. And yeah.
That's right. That's right. Ashley said she said it was really true of Asian cameras. Of course, like airlines have different policies as well, and it always depends on the crew and their attitude. But generally, I have fewer issues in Asia than I have in the rest of the world. Africa is also pretty cool. Africans love cameras.
Yeah, I feel like there's this sense of I trust you and I don't really care that much, and it's just a culture. It's
And I think it also depends how you behave. If you walk in there like a complete retard, like pointing the camera in somebody's face, it doesn't matter whether you're Asian, African, or Latino or whatever. It's a rude thing to do, and you don't make friends right away. But I think if you're respectful and you're kind and you greet them with a nice smile and you do what you do, but you do it privately, or not as like a big profile, then you'll be okay on most of the airlines. That is my experience.
mm-hmm. No, I feel you. I feel you. Um, where else? Australians are a little bit more friendly to cameras than the Westerners from the West, I feel as well. What do you think about that as an Australian?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I spent a couple of years living there, like, and it's home pretty much. Yeah, well, I think flying corners, like corners, and like Australia generally, they are very open. Like I mean, we always say Australia is a nanny state, and there's a lot of CCTV and like surveillance anyway, so they're absolutely used to being filmed, whether they want it or not.
Well, you live in China too, and I'm from there, so you and I, that's a sentiment that maybe is shared by a lot of Chinese people or Asia in particular. It's
Yeah,
just
but
like
like
it doesn't really matter.
yeah, on Chinese airlines as well. Like it's always like they don't even know, like they don't even look at you when you film, or like you have a camera there. Like filming on Chinese airlines is so easy, and they really appreciate it. It feels like.
I agree with that sentiment. It's a different way of looking at things. Okay,
Exactly.
moving on. Corbin Ainsley asks what I think will happen with his flight down to Florida from the UK in December. It's very ambitious of you to book that. I think it'll be all right. I think by then things will have calmed down a little bit. I have a buddy in Palm Beach who says the world, the world is ending down there. So maybe by December the world would have ended, and then when you go explore Florida, it'll be a completely different place than what it is now. I don't know. I think because they're getting infected so quickly, and things are kind of out of control down in Florida, it'll be over a lot quicker
Wouldn't there be a point where you say, okay, there's no point for a vaccine, like we have the majority of the citizens infected anyway, so let's just
well, they're
move
at
on.
1.5%. So no, I think there's still a ways to go with vaccines.
When does herd immunity kick in? How many percent do you need?
It depends on the virulence of the infection or the disease. I don't know what it is for COVID-19. I know for the flu, it's usually around 80% is what people say. Anything from 60 to 80% is, I think, what a lot of the articles have said. And just to remind everyone, the whole point of herd immunity is that some people, whether they be immune compromised or have some kind of allergic reaction, can't get vaccinated. And some other people, if they get a disease that to you and me might be mild, such as the flu, where it'll go away in a couple of weeks, these things might kill these people. So it is up to the rest of us to protect our fellow neighbors, countrymen, friends from these things from happening. So vaccinating yourself is the most selfless thing you can do. It is not a selfish thing to vaccinate yourself. It is going a long way to help people. That's the
I
whole
agree.
point of vaccines.
I absolutely agree. Cahill or Sale, how are both your experiences at Cathay Pacific? Have you flown Cathay?
I I've flown Cathay a lot
Yeah.
in every class. What do you think?
Well, I've flown Cathay during that time when they were reconsider their whole strategies and they have a bit of a restructure. So I was, in terms of service, I was absolutely underwhelmed. I flew their new Airbus A350, beautiful bird, amazing, hard product, spot on. But at this time, they had tray service in business class where I was just like, this is an absolute no-go, and it takes forever. So it's an amazing airline. I love it, but they have very hard circumstances to deal with, especially now with the riots and like the political situation. So definitely a legacy carrier, which is it's amazing, beautiful planes to look at. But I haven't flown them recently to tell how the service, whether it has improved or not. How about yourself?
Um, so I have an emotional attachment to Cathay Pacific. They're the first long haul carrier I've flown since I was 4, I believe, 5. So I love them. Okay, I love everything about them. I love their little brush wing logo all the way down to the smoothies they serve. Unfortunately, they don't serve them in economy these days anymore. But also, fortunately, I fly business with them more often these days than not. Not recently, though. I haven't really flown them in the past couple of years. And I do wish them the best. It is, I think, a very well managed airline. It's a very high end airline. It holds itself to very high standards, and it's one of the benchmark setters for the quality of service you get in Asia. There's no doubt about it. Cathay Pacific and a couple of the Japanese airlines are the entrepreneurs and the pioneers for all the Asian airlines that you see today. The level of service and the disparity of the service between Asia, Europe, and North America is in no small part due to Cathay Pacific. They raised the bar once and once again. And that is why you have better service in general on Asian airliners and Asian carriers than you do in European or American airlines. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I
So
mean, like when it comes to service, just I mean, we know where Asian airlines stand.
absolutely. So there's a little bit of a Pan Am idea behind the whole Cathay Pacific model, and it would be sad if they were to change or disappear, and I hope they don't. Um, Delta Bravo Tango, hello, a very active individual. I think this is a classmate of mine. I do believe he goes to Rotman Commerce here in UFT. Nas, would you say it is safe to fly for fun within Canada right now, or is it still essential only? That depends, I think, right now on who you live with and how likely you are to give someone something should you catch something. I live with my girlfriend. We're both young adults, so I still wouldn't travel just for fun or just to make a vlog. If it's work, I'll do it. If it's for leisure, I wouldn't. But that's up to you. And I don't think we're at the point right. We're at. I do think we're at a point right now where you can travel for fun if you can justify it to yourself. You don't have to justify it to other people. Tony's toilet. Sorry.
Tony's toilet. Is he active again? Because I have a very interesting question.
Okay.
For both the audience, because I think you have a very there's a lot of you have a Asian audience, or you have also an audience where Canadian Asians with Asian descent. What do you think about China Airlines thinking about rebranding to Taiwan Airlines? What are the difficulties, and what do you think about it personally?
I think that's a great idea. I don't know what airline code they're gonna get though.
Do you think they will lose low landing rights in mainland China, which is a massive market for them? Why would they jeopardize it?
I don't know, but I feel like it is an inevitability. But I don't know how well that's gonna go with the current regime and the current political stance, with how fragile things are right now. But I think it would just make a lot of sense from a marketing and business perspective, because people think, oh, China Airlines, it's a Chinese airline, but it's Taiwanese, who are very adamant that they're Taiwanese, but they're also politically they call themselves Chinese because they are this idea of China. I don't know. It depends on how I feel like the politics will go in Taiwan. Like, do they want to just forego saying, hey, we're the legitimate rulers of all of China and we're just Taiwan now, which I feel like is the sentiment a lot of the people share? Or do they want to hold on and say, hey, we're the legitimate China altogether, period?
Of course. I mean, there's a lot of politics involved. But if Fox Gamer 1401 says Air China covers their flags when going to Taiwan, and China Airlines does the same, vice versa, is that true?
Oh, I don't know about that. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting
definitely.
to see.
So Fox Gamer, if you can evaluate, if you can give us a bit of a background story to that, whether that's true or not, it'd be very interesting to hear.
Okay. Okay, so this is a question I want to ask. Edie Kumalainen. Sorry, is that
Finnish?
That is. Okay, Finnish. Sorry I butchered your name there, but that's something you and I feel like share. Josh Cahill, what do you think about I'm not clickbaiting, effective titling of videos? I don't think your videos are clickbaity.
I think
your titles are too often in caps, is my honest thought, but it does actually work. But no, your videos aren't clickbaity. But what do you think about an effective title?
I do believe that we are all on YouTube for entertainment as well. And I think a juicy title is part of the whole game, and you got to stand out, right? But I would never be like, I don't believe that it's clickbait. I do believe it's a strong statement, which I do in my titles. And you got to get the attention. And I do think that you have to get people to your videos somehow. And the content is, I think, very matching the title as such. But would be also nice to hear the audience opinion on that. But I do think you do have to have a strong title on YouTube. Whether it is all in capital letters or not, that's another debate. But there's people who tell me they hate titles in all capital letters. But yeah, well, we know it's a joke. I don't feel offended at all. But yeah, no, of course, I do believe you need a strong title, and that's part of the YouTube game. And in the end, it's all we do all for entertainment, and you guys enjoy watching it, don't you?
I feel like in terms of that, you guys should, or the audience should hold YouTubers to the same level of standards as newspaper headlines. And a lot of times these newspaper and tabloid headlines are a little untruthful. So I feel like as long as there is truth in the title, if it's eye-catching, then it works and it's okay. It also depends on what kind of criticism, if any, you get. And then after a while, you figure it out. I don't think you're one of those people who just go after like clickbaity titles, because ultimately that's not going to end well for your
I
audience.
do believe by the end I do offer absolute quality content. Well, it's good content. People watch it, and I don't think you can grow such an audience and reach millions of people if you don't have anything behind your titles. And that's but yeah, of course, everyone has a different style. Some people have extremely clickbaity thumbnails, and like very weak titles. I think everybody finds that out for themselves, but in the end, I provide entertainment. I do want to like change traveling for all of us watching. I want to like I'm not for the airlines, but I do make a big voice, or like for good service and good quality. But I also like want airlines to improve, that we all have a great trip by the end of the day. That's my mission, and I'm not doing that to become rich, and that you can't really get that rich on YouTube. But I think that's my point of view.
It is fun though. It's very enjoyable, and I envy you being able to do it full time. Not saying that I want to do it. That would be jealousy if I do.
Day.
But it's envy that you get to have that much fun. And it's kind of cool, and it's impressive. All right, let's take two of these questions. What do I think about the Bose headphone 700s? Honestly, I feel like I like these better, the QC35s, because the noise canceling is a little bit better on the newer ones, but the quality of life features like physical buttons on this is something I miss not having on the new ones. And there is a review coming out that is done exclusively on airplane bathrooms of the the Bose Headphone 700s. But I need to take a couple more flights to get into a couple more bathrooms to review the headphones. So it'll come out soon enough.
Yeah, like I'm just following the chat and people talking about South African Airlines. I flew them last year on a beautiful flight from Washington D.C. To Johannesburg with a stopover in Ghana. Lovely flight, beautiful product on the 330, and the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life. But yeah, this discussion. I mean, they've been bankrupt ever since I know them. I think they even
time
started
and time
bankrupt.
again, yeah, and they restructure and they refinance, and is this time any different? Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think anybody has to be worried that South African airline is ever going to vanish from the skies.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think of Turkish Airlines?
During Corona, I said post COVID, but we haven't reached post COVID yet.
Just in general, what do you like as an airline?
As an airline, I do believe that they have a beautiful network. I think they fly to most destinations of any airlines in the world. Beautiful catering, best of catering.
Yes.
I think their catering is very, very strong.
Absolutely.
Over the years, it's my most flown airline, Turkish Airlines. And to be honest, I have issues with the crew. The crew but it's also a cultural thing. They're not very outgoing, a bit too much more attitude. Like they have a bit of, they have attitude. And you got to be lucky. You got to be lucky with Turkish Airlines that you get a good set of crew. I'm not saying there's bad, but for an airline of such yeah, class as Turkish, that it would be the only and the lounges in Istanbul, the best lounges you can possibly think. Even at the old airport, it's like a Disneyland for aviation geeks. I believe you have been to the lounge, right?
Yeah, I've been to the old one and the new one. The old
Yeah.
airport is the ISL, I believe. It's a cargo hub. Oh, the lounges are beautiful. I think Turkish Airlines is fantastic for both its economy and business class. They're just two fantastic products, and I give it a 5 stars in everything apart from, like you said, service, both on the ground and in the air. The customer service isn't great. It's hard to get a hold of someone if you're in trouble. I know that if you have the highest tier of status with Turkish Airlines, you get access to a hotline and an email address, which helps a lot, and that's something people go for. But if you just have Star Alliance Gold, they treat you a little bit better, but I share the sentiment of the cabin crew not being as, yeah, you're right, outgoing or proactive. They will do everything you ask them to, but they sometimes give you a little bit of attitude.
That is right. And thanks, Ashley. I'm always happy to hear when somebody says very true about Turkish Airlines. Yeah, that's true. That is the underwhelming thing. I guess they blow you away with their lounge, with their food, with even their new seats are amazing on the new Dreamliner. But yeah, I think when it comes down to the crew, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. But yeah, next question. Tyson, did you pick anything? Oh, I think that's you. Since you're the nerd between among us, what do you think about the MRG Mitsubishi Space Jet? Is that something you have ever heard of, or what
No,
is it? Tell
I
us.
have no idea what that is.
Now I'm surprised.
I know there's a Mitsubishi regional jet, like
Yeah.
the MRJ. It's kind of like a cross between a CRJ and an A220. I don't know what the Mitsubishi Space Jet is. What do you guys think about the UAE launching a probe to Mars? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What do you guys think about the UAE hitching a ride with the Japanese Space Agency by launching a probe to Mars? But yeah, no, I'll look up what the Mitsubishi Space Jet is. That sounds fascinating.
Absolutely. And Nick Wested, he said Turkish Airlines lost my luggage twice. 500 flights almost, never lost my bag, never had it damaged. Turkish Airlines was the one that did manage it. Thank you very much. Turkish Airlines, if somebody's watching from them, I'd like to have a new suitcase from you guys.
They broke my suitcase once.
So there you go. Listen well, Turkish Airlines. You
Yeah.
guys are bullies,
I don't know if it's the
like
airline or
luggage bullies.
the baggage handling at IST, but yeah, they managed to break a Rimowa suitcase, which is kind of impressive. But also, thankfully, they fixed it for free in Germany. So
There is a very good question from SAB Aviation. Josh, what do you think about Aeroflot? And why was safety a part of your title in the video? Interestingly, I do a lot of I go into my analytics and I see that is Aeroflot a safe airline to fly was one of the most Googled sentences I could always find. So I wanted to answer that question because Aeroflot has the youngest fleet in the world, always amazing deals, also to cross the Atlantic. So this is why I wanted to answer that question for a lot of people because I think when I went to analytics and saw that people have so many worries about Aeroflot, which is justified because they were one of the most terrible airlines in the world before the end of the Soviet Union. That is why I put that title there. I hope that answers the question. Have you flown Aeroflot?
I believe I have when I was little, but I don't remember. I do also believe it was a Tupolev of some kind. And I really didn't care for it at that time, I don't think. But I am interested on the A350. I mean, the A350 is a very safe airplane. And it is their flagship product right now. So I feel like if they have any pilots who are going to fly, their most senior pilots are going to fly that. So I don't really think there will be any issues. And when it comes to airlines and their safety, it's usually just an inconvenience when something goes wrong. Very rarely are you going to die on an airplane. If I die on an airplane, whatever. The odds are against it. But hey, if that day comes, that day comes.
That is right. And that one south, I have flown Air Mauritius A350, and I've also flown the 330 Neo from London to Mauritius. Go check out my channel. Uh, you can you can watch both videos there.
Travel Leo says, do you think of Istanbul as a safe place to transfer through? Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't class it so four tiers of Tizen's safety rating in terms of cities. You have top tier, which are the biggest, world class cities that are super safe. A lot of European cities, some North American cities, a couple Chinese cities, and pretty much all of the Japanese cities. It is incredibly safe to transfer through Japan and some other Asian countries. And then you have tier two. Tier two, you just have to be a little bit mindful. Don't get ripped off. Don't get mugged. Make sure your doors are locked. Make sure that you have your things in zipped up pockets. And don't be stupid. And Istanbul is one of those cities where you just don't be stupid. Some random person comes up to you, which they will in Istanbul, especially near the old town, Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, and they start like talking to you. Don't talk to them, or just make them go away. Like, personally, if they strike up a conversation with you, just act really, really weird. Like I was telling Josh this the other day. The last time I was in Istanbul, I was taking some photos. I looked like an absolute tourist, right? So this guy came up to me and he's like, hey, where are you from? And he has his earphone in. And obviously he's on a call with someone, probably an accomplice, who's trying to, see if I'm someone worth scamming or if I'm someone worth trying to burgle, which happens in Istanbul, unfortunately. And then he's like, is this your first time in Istanbul? Where are you from? And I told him, well, I'm from China. And no, this is my 5th time in Istanbul. And he's like, oh, cool. You come here often? And then at that point, you just become weird. Just do something that makes him feel weird, right? So I told him I have a very large penis. And then he went away immediately.
Is that a true statement?
There you go. And then if you're taking that, I don't know, you be the judge of that.
I believe I've never seen your penis.
And if you're taking a taxi, just go on Google Maps, make sure that the taxi driver is going correctly, going the right way, and tell him which highway you want him to take according to Google Maps. And then at that point, they probably know that you're keeping your eye on things, where you know enough that they won't try to scam you.
I've been scammed in Istanbul once.
What happened? Tell us about it.
There was these guys who polish your shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they do? They have like a little they have a little, I don't know what it's called. Their little box or tray where they literally where they place your shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And so they walk, and he dropped a brush,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their trick. So you go and pick up the brush, and you return it to them, and then they offer you, thank you so much. I'm gonna like brush your or like polish your shoes, and then they charge you a lot of money. So I fell for this trick, and then it happened again, and then I just walked past. Like I felt so accomplished. I didn't fall for the trap again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There are tons of places like this. Paris is one of them. Many scammers in Paris. If you're in Paris and someone comes up to you and asking you for directions, and they hold out like a paper map in front of you, don't fall for that. Run away. Just literally run away. Because they're trying to like obscure your vision, and someone pickpockets you, don't do that. Don't get close to those people. If someone comes up to you with an air of urgency, asking you, hey, can you sign this petition to, liberate Syrian children or whatever? Don't sign that. You're not from France. Your petition doesn't matter. They're trying to distract you so they can pickpocket you. And just tell them to go away. Be incredibly rude if you have to, if that's what it takes.
Zano Zyko is asking, why is Josh with everyone now? I saw him on Swiss 001 earlier today, and now with Vicarious Voyager. Are you just clapping with everyone? No, I'm actually very selective. And Swiss is a very good friend, and Tyson is a brother from another mother. We do look alike almost, right?
I'd say you're a little bit better looking, just a little bit.
That is, I agree, and I think most of the audience does so as well. Joke.
No, but Josh is a very likable person. He's a very friendly person, very outgoing person. That's part of why he's successful. He has a shining personality. He's very funny, very silly.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the flowers. Thanks for the flowers.
I didn't send you flowers.
But that's isn't that a saying?
Don't be confused. Okay, I'm not. That's.
I think that's might be a German saying then. But yeah.
Okay. We'll take a couple more. Well, let's hang around for 20 more minutes. If you guys have, I'm sorry, we skipped a couple. So if you really want your question answered, just tag either of us.
Okay, let's play a game. We have to have 10 seconds to answer the question. So I take one, then you take one. So guys, if you're listening, you have a question, now shoot, and we're gonna fire away. You guys fire away, and we will answer them really quick. But don't ask questions, what's your life story? Because that can't be answered in 10 seconds.
What do you think about the outrageous 343 configuration that Cebu Pacific is using on their A330 Neos? Air Transat has the same configuration, by the way, guys. 343 on an A330. Oh, sorry, Air Transat has a 333.
Imagine Tizens with Josh Hare. That would be funny.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can, yes.
Okay. What do you think about the A330 situation with the 343 seating arrangement?
On Cebu Pacific?
Yes.
I think that is, it's a budget airline, so I guess that's what I would expect, right? And it's an economy-only Airbus as well. I don't believe it's a Neo. I don't think they have Neos. It's still the 300 edition. But yeah. All right, 350 or Dreamliner?
Dreamliner.
How old are you both?
I'm 24.
34.
And he's old.
Singapore Airlines 350 or Turkish Airlines Dreamliner?
Oh, Singapore Airlines 350.
Oh, definitely.
What's
favorite
your
things to do? Okay, you go.
Okay, what is your worst experience with equipment changes? I've been pretty lucky. How about you?
Oh my god. I think I've been very lucky as well. No, I think there was one case, and I can't. Oh yes, Ariana Afghan. When I was in Afghanistan, I wanted to fly an Airbus A310. Was changed to 737, unfortunately.
Ooh,
brutal.
Let's
not talk about it.
That sucks. Yeah. How long was that flight?
6 hours, but it was more for AFGEEK reasons. I went to Afghanistan to fly one of the last Airbus A310s.
Damn.
Yeah.
Worst equipment change. Sorry, Finnair or SAS?
I haven't flown both. Okay. I don't know.
I will say, they're the same. On the A350s, they're both the same. They're both amazing airlines. I do like Denmark a little bit better than I like Finland. I will admit to that though.
Worst airline ever flown?
American Airlines? Yeah, that's pretty
American
easy
Airlines.
answer.
Oh,
American
you were thinking.
Airlines, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Longest flight ever flown?
Emirates LA to Dubai, 18 hours.
Toronto, Hong Kong, 18 hours, 17 and a half. So yeah. Why is
least favorite airport?
Least Newark, easy. You?
Oh, too many.
I'm not sure what's the airport code for that one.
FU.
What's the longest amount of connections you've ever flown, Josh Cahill?
3.
Okay. And how long of a period of time?
That was Johannesburg, Sydney, Melbourne to Tasmania.
Oh, that is okay. That's kind of brutal.
Very long. Just as long as. Okay, next question.
Cathay A350 or Singapore A350? This one is slightly
Singapore,
better.
all the way.
Which airline in general, Singapore or Cathay?
Singapore.
Okay.
All the way.
Emirates, Etihad, or Qatar?
Qatar.
I'm a Qatar guy too. Oman Air or Malaysian Airlines? I think I know the answer to that.
Malaysia Airlines.
Yes. Why is business class so terrible in Europe? And we can take a little bit longer for this one.
I think it's just it's just how it's same for India. Like why do premium airlines don't work? Because nobody has the urge, nobody wants to travel premium, and you just want to get as many people in an airplane on yeah on on a cheap ticket. That is all
I
behind. It's economic.
I agree with you, and that's incredibly. That's especially true for Europe. It is kind of small. Western Europe is a small place. Think about it. If you go from London to Istanbul, which is about as far as you'll go, that's about 3.5 hours. And airlines in Europe in general have a harder time going at making money in terms of cash flow than Asian and North American airlines. There is a huge disparity in the amount of money they get in the winter versus the summer in terms of tourism and stuff. So they need flexibility. And that's why you have European business class, which can be overnight transformed into economy class. And most people don't care that much anymore. They are short flights. So a lot of the experience you're going to get with European business class is on the ground, the lounge experience, the check-in experience. So that's something people don't really pay attention to, but some of the airlines will pick you up from your hotel, drop you off and your luggage off at the hotel. They have arrival lounges where you can take a shower, freshen up, print off some documents, and go do your work. So it's tailored heavily towards business travelers who are there more for the convenience than they are for the amenities. Is Iceland Air safe? Josh Cahill.
Why wouldn't it be safe? Iceland Air I mean, every airline that has landing rights in Europe is very safe. And Iceland Air, I've flown them 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Beautiful product. I wouldn't know why they don't even have a bad history. They're safe as, I don't know. They're very safe.
No, they have some older planes, but that's not an indicator of how dangerous they are. Longest wait time on a tarmac for me, from Michael McIntosh. There was a flight from Toronto to Vancouver a couple of years ago in A321. I was economy class. We landed on the runway in Vancouver, and we were going to take a taxiway, but then there was a plane that broke down in front of us that blocked the taxiway. So we waited for half an hour to see if the plane could figure itself out. It couldn't, so they had to get a tug over and tug the plane off the taxiway, which took an hour. And then we got to our gate, and at this point, both the captain and the first officer have profusely apologized for about 20 times. We get to the gate, and the jet bridge doesn't work. So we're on the plane for another 2.5 hours while they try to fix the jet bridge. And then they pushed us back and towed us to a different gate to offload. So we were on the ground in Vancouver for as long as we were in the air getting there. It wasn't fun. And they shut down one of the engines. And the AC wasn't very powerful. Not a good time.
Sounds terrifying.
At least I'm alive. So I mean, that's the least you can ask for, is what I say. Taylor Hodge or Taylor Hogue says, "I'm flying, not trying to hit on flight attendants." I don't know where the conversation came from, but okay. EVA or ANA?
EVA.
I'd pick ANA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hainan Airlines or Salmon Airlines.
I'm going to say Xiamen Airlines because I have friends who work there. And I like Xiamen better than I like Hainan. Xiamen. 国际航空公司.
Roughest landing you've experienced. That was you last night, and wasn't it?
What do you mean?
Best toilets. Oh, that's a good one. Best toilet.
I'm having a hard time figuring this out. Emirates, first class bathrooms.
Oh, right. Yeah, I agree. The spa on Emirates 380 with the shower.
Star Alliance or One World? I'm a Star Alliance guy, so I have to say Star
I'm actually
Alliance.
a Sky Team guy.
Oh my god! All right, that's it. And on that bombshell, we'll have to say goodbye. I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, but I think that's a good segue because my sister just messaged me said dinner is ready, so we have to slowly come to an end.
Okay.
But let's take a few more questions. Oh, that's a very good one. What particular? Sam Choi or Dennis Bunnick?
Dennis Bunnick for the flight reviews, Sam Choi for the outside of flight
Cringe.
reviews aviation content. Like, those are pretty good. Starlux, the last question. What do you think about Starlux? Give us a little bit of a
I
rundown.
loved it. I flew them. I was on their second flight ever. And a beautiful product with a very strong focus on luxury experience. And I think they're going to be a big thing in the next couple 10 years when they really like develop and get their long bodies, their wide bodies. So yeah, I have strong opinions on, or like very hopeful that they're going to be a very interesting airline.
Do you think they'll do all right through the current downturn? Do you think there's actually an opportunity for them given how terrible things are with their small fleet?
Well, given their chairman, I think it's better to have a small fleet during times like this than a big fleet like Emirates. But given the chairman is one of the richest men in the world, I don't think they're too badly affected, and I think they will be very strong. They will come very strong.
Okay, I feel
out
like
of this
there is
crisis.
investment going that way, and Asia's bouncing back faster than we are over here in North
Absolutely,
America.
absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but that's it, guys. We got better things to do on our Saturdays, and I'm sure most of you do too. If you like this dynamic duo, please leave us a comment, not a chat message, but a comment. And if you want us to do this again, and if we do this again next month, it's on his channel because I'm not putting the effort of setting this up again. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about. And before we see you then, we will most likely, can't guarantee it, but most likely have the first episode of our podcast out where we'll talk about a couple of things not necessarily related to aviation. Any closing remarks, Josh?
No, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's always great. And you guys are amazing. Like, I really like your audience. You should be very proud of them. Very intelligent and very interesting questions. Very respectful
Thank
bunch
you.
as well.
I am. I made every member of my audience myself.
Yeah, like
they're all
absolutely,
Chinese bots.
a total opposite of the host actually of this channel. But yeah, thanks for watching. I mean, if you bring such a, I had to convert this one. That was too easy not to. So no, thanks everyone, and make sure you watch my train review as well, which I posted today. And I really hope that you enjoyed this Saturday night, morning, evening sessions of us, a bit of entertainment for those who had nothing else to do. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good one.
All right. Hope everyone's doing well. Please stay healthy. Please stay safe, and we'll see you later.